Mhm. Hey everybody, today is our second video of Property Base. So today we're going to do some easy stuff. We are going to add a new contact, okay? We're going to add a buyer and I want you to add a seller. After you watch this video, I want you to actually go ahead and do it. Choose a funky name like your favorite movie star, favorite athlete, something that I can tell that you've done it. Brad Pitt, Jennifer Aniston, whoever you want to be, your special person, but I want you to add one buyer and one seller. And we're going to continue working with that same buyer and seller as we're training through this. So you've got some test data in here. But real quick, something I did not show you yesterday that I want to show you again today. Remember, this is our main screen that we wake up to every morning. See our fields, what is this called? This is our bar across the top. What is this thing called? I'm going to call it a bar. One thing I did not show you yesterday is you obviously see here's the word listing and here is an arrow. They do two separate things. That's very confusing and quite stressful, so start getting used to it. If you click on listings, it shows me a list of current listings. I think you're only going to see your listings here if I'm correct. If you click the arrow button, this is where you add a new listing. So just wanted to bring to your attention, that is very frustrating. You're going to have to get used to it, that the word does one thing, the arrow does another. Okay, so that's just a quick reminder. But today we're going to focus on contacts. So if you click on the contacts tab right there, the first thing I want to remind you is this is called a pin list. So when you click this drop down list, you'll see a bunch of different lists like your recently viewed, your hot new, your buyers, and we will have just other lists down here that you can easily choose from, your sellers, just any different thing. But if you want to see the same list pop up every time, like I want to see all my buyers today, when you pin it, it's going to stay on this list. So if you come back to your home tab and then you come back to your contacts tab, see it's still pinned on buyers. But if you want to change it, you simply click on it, said I want to do my hot new, and you pin it, and now it's going to stick to hot new. Okay, and we will address those and have some more lists. So right now I'm going to take it back to my buyers so you can see all of them. So pretty easy here. This is going to be an easy day. We want to add a new contact. We're simply, when you click that, you can see your recent ones that I've been playing with in here, the recent list I clicked on. But if we want to do a new contact, it's going to be pretty self-explanatory. Not rocket science here. So this very front screen is your basic screen. You must fill in everything on this screen or you're not going to be able to go forward. So we're going to do Mr. Brad Pitt, because if I had a boyfriend, I'd want it to be him. bradpitt@gmail.com. These fields are going to change a little bit. The fields that I'm not filling in will not be required and they'll be removed, just so you know. The mobile phone number is the key number that you want to enter in, because any list that you see, this is the number that they're going to pull up on. So we're going to remove company from here. We're going to remove business phone just from this initial screen, but you can add it in the next screen. The next thing that you're going to be forced to put in is your lead source. We don't have all of ours in here yet. That should be done by the next day or two. Then you're going to have to tell me if he is a buyer or a seller. So you can't just click buyer because you think you're done right there, but you're really not. You have to click buyer and you have to click it over right there. So it says this is what's available. This is what you've chosen. You actually can click more than one. So he can be two things at a time. If he's going to be a buyer or seller, you go, oh, I don't want him to be a seller. I just want him to be a buyer. Okay. Then you're going to hit the save button. Real quick. If I typed Brad Pitt in, and he's already in our database, we've got to test this a little bit, so don't hold me to this. If you start trying to type Brad Pitt and he's already in there, it's going to start popping up over here to help us avoid duplicates. And yes, it'll be for everybody. So if Brad Pitt is my boyfriend and my buyer, but then he calls Katrina next week and he wants to be Katrina's boyfriend and buyer, when Katrina tries to enter Brad Pitt, she's going to see him pop over there and it's not going to let her add him. And then Katrina's going to say, Teresa, who is Brad Pitt assigned to? He's my client. And then we'll have to handle that on this end and we'll just get back to that later. But hopefully we've entered Brad Pitt. Nothing's popping up that it's a duplicate, so we're going to hit save. That's pretty easy, right? So if that's his real email, that'll be really cool. So again, remember our top screen. This is our basic header about Brad, his email, his phone number, day since last activity, where we got him, and he's checked green as a buyer. Again, at the top, if we want to edit any of this information, we click the edit button right there, and you can start going down some of those fields. Cancel. If you want to send Brad an email, we're going to do it from here. A text, a video, start a drip campaign. We're not ready for that. Action plan. We're not ready. We're not doing these things yet. You will not have a delete button. So now you can go down and start entering his contact information. Okay, we're going to be moving a few things around here, but this not my client. Remember in Top Producer, if we're adding a new closing and we're entering our contact as the buyer and it says who's the seller, it forces us to put the seller name in who is not our client. We would put that seller name in and click this box right here that says they're not my client. That way they don't pull up on our reporting. Next is our qualification, so that property-based score, which is, why isn't that up here? It's on that other screen. The property-based score, again, is going to be how much Brad actually interacts with you. Does he open your emails? Does he open your text messages? Does he open our BombBomb videos? What stage are we in with Brad? So we can edit right here, or remember, here's our stage. We can actually say, oh, I've talked to Brad. I want him to be sent to a lender. He tells me he's got good credit and that he wants to buy $1 million home, but I know he needs to go to the lender. One thing to pay attention, you click that and it looks really good to me, right? Wrong. It's not set until you mark it as the current stage and you see it over there twirling around saying that it's saving it. Now you can see that I got a blue check mark that he's past the hot lead stage. He's at the pre-approval stage. So now let's say tomorrow our lender calls us and said, I talked to Brad. Brad is good. Here's his pre-approval letter. You're ready to go. So you're going to skip all the way to active for Brad. So see, we're not done. None of these are checked. So in order to actually make him active, you got to click it and click mark the current stage. That's going to be a little, challenging to remember. So we're just all going to have to be patient when we get started. So now he's active. You can keep going down, birth dates, anniversaries. Again, some of this stuff is going to be moved around a little bit. So I just want you to see this basic information that we talked about there. Want to go over this contact tab again. So here's our related tab. Here's our notes tab that you can manually enter a note. There's a new button. Oh, this is what I don't like. See this line? It wants you to put a title or a subject in there. So I'm going to put pre-approved, and we have this on our list of questions. Brad has been pre-approved for $1 million and wants to purchase in the Kingwood area. Okay, so there's my note that I just said to myself. So we've got that. One thing I want you to show that is kind of confusing in property base. You're like, oh my God, how do I get back to Brad? The first thing you want to look at is anything that's blue is hyperlinked. And it's kind of like, how do I get back? You can choose your back button, but just slow down. When you choose the client's name, it's going to take you right back to that contact record. So now you're in there. Again, if you scroll down to the details page, hey, where'd my note go? Why isn't my note there? Sometimes you have to refresh because it doesn't work as fast as you and I want it to, me specifically. There's my note. So it takes it a minute. So there's your refresh button up there if you need to do it. Again, you can add another note right here, but there's your note. If I want to send an email to Brad, where do I send it from? Not over here in Outlook. I'm going to send it right here. Obviously, that's a bogus email address, so I can't really send it. But if you guys want to practice on your husbands and put your husband's name in here, put their real email and their real phone number, then you can practice with a real email and a real text message to make sure everything's working on your end. Same thing with the subject again. Well, I'm going to put it, but I don't think. Email to Brad Pitt. I'm testing our email feature in Property Base. Okay, we're going to hit the send button. So it thinks it went, but obviously it really didn't. So let's hit the refresh button up there. One thing I'm not particularly fond of is there's not one spot, like you see I send them an email, you don't get one consecutive string of notes, like a note that you wrote in, you sent him a text yesterday, you sent an email the day before. That's not in a straight string, and I don't like that at all, but we're gonna have to adjust because there's nothing that we can do about it right there. That's given me a little bit of anxiety, but we don't know, what we can do about that right now. One thing while we're on the notes that I don't like as well, again, I've been complaining and there's nothing they can do. When they import our notes from Top Producer, they're all going to come over in one big fat note. They will not be broken out with time and date. I don't know if it'll show the time and date from Top Producer. What I do know, if there's 15 notes under one specific person in Top Producer, when we import, it's all going to come over as one note. Can't change it, been complaining about it, but at least we'll have the notes under there and they will all be in one place. But when you track your emails, they're actually right here. Okay, we'll look at that again. Don't get too set on that because I might be moving that around. I don't know, but you can see the email that I sent to Brad right here. It's not opening. Hold on. Emails. This was giving me trouble the other day. So, crazy. Log activity. Yeah. Okay, we're going to come back to that because Judy doesn't know where the tracking went. I see it right here, but it's not letting me open it so I can actually see the emails. I will come back to you on that. I thought it was under here. See, this is why we got to keep having training. I'll come back to you on that. Teresa, you see anything else? This is our text messaging. Again, if you're going to text message, we've seen that before, that it's just going to be right here. Your campaigns are going to be right here that we're going to turn on and turn off. So we don't need anything else on that right now. So I'm going to get back with whenever we email somebody, we're tracking it right here, but I'm not able to open it. So that was on my list to get fixed. So for today, that's all we're going to cover is our contacts. So go in, add your spouse. That way you got a real phone number and a real email, and start practice with an email, practice with a text. Click around on everything. Add your favorite movie star in as a buyer or seller, whichever way you want to do it, so that when I train you tomorrow, it's going to be a hot mess. We're going to add a new listing and add a new closing. Okay, and that's going to be longer. I'll separate those two videos out, but as I do the videos, we'll do listings first, then we'll do add a new closing. So I want you to have one buyer, one seller. Good luck. If you've got any questions, shoot me an email. If you see something I'm not seeing, shoot me an email and we'll go from there. Thanks, ladies.